Um. Oh, this might be. It's not off topic, but it was something I wanted to talk to you about, even though it's past.
Yeah.
It's time. Mm-hmm. Speaking of, like, we were talking about, like, I'm bad at watching stuff on Netflix because I end up just, like, repeating stuff that I've already seen a bunch of times. Mm-hmm. And, like, I think we're saying, because I went to watch the Unicorn Store.
Yeah.
And you saw it, and, like, you liked it.
Yeah. It's so funny because it's kind of like, it's a weird, kind of silly movie that, like, I always feel like I'm watching it. Like, there's some movies that, you ever watch a movie that, like, it doesn't feel, like, grounded in, like, the real world? But, like, it takes place in the real world, but something about it doesn't feel grounded.
For me, movies don't take place in the real world, so I've always just, like, they have their own rule. Like, a movie is in this movie world and has its own rules, mm-hmm. So, like, I accept it. Yeah,
okay, that's, like, what this movie feels like to me, because something about it didn't feel, like, grounded, but, like, I did enjoy it. It was silly. It was kind of fun. And then I got, like, surprisingly emotional at the end. I think it's, like, movies or, like, shows that, like, address themes of, like, growing up and, like, you know, like, what parts of your childhood do you hang on to and, like, where do you grow up? Like, those, like, are always, like, really hard-hitting messages for me. Mm-hmm. So, like, I got kind of emotional there because, like, that's kind of a big theme of the movie is, like, you know, growing up, but, like, keeping your whimsy.
Yeah, I think, like, there's definitely a balance between, like, being interested in, like, nerd stuff that, like, you were into when you were younger and then being an adult.
Yeah, it's, like... Yeah, and it's, you know, that's, like, always a message that, like, resonates with me. So, like, I ended up getting way more emotional than I thought I would. But, yeah, it was fun. So, check it out. Yeah.
So, Netflix movies that I watch a Zac Efron Ted Bundy movie.
How was that?
Weird.
Yeah? What about it?
Well, like, it was, like, it was interesting because, like, it's definitely different from, like, how I thought it was gonna be, because, like, there was that one trailer that made, like, 10, but it looked, like, all cool and stuff, because he was, like, this, like, the thing is, like, he was, like, a super good-looking, charming guy who just murdered a bunch of women, you know, but, and then they had, like, the darker trailer, because, like, I think people got upset that, like, they were, like, it looked like they were glorifying this guy, which, like, you know, you shouldn't, because he's a murderer, and, like, it was, like, I think, like, somebody, because, like, I didn't know it was going to be on Netflix. I thought it was going to be, like, an actual movie, like, in theaters. And then it just popped up on Netflix one day, and I'm just like, oh, all right. I'm going to watch it. I don't know why, but I'm going to. And then, like, you know, like, there's, like, some movies. I think, like, it's one movie that I actually watched on Lifetime, but it was a real movie that went out in theaters, like, independent theaters. And I was thinking, I was, like, watching this, and I'm just like, this is probably a really good, like, TV or Lifetime movie, but that got into theaters, which therefore it makes it kind of meh. So that's how I feel with the Ted Bundy movie.
Okay.
Like,
it feels like a TV movie.
Yeah. But, like, I think Zac Efron did really good. Because, like, Zac Efron's, like, I think, like, I was talking to somebody about this thing. Like, I don't know if I'm like that in Zac Efron, but I'm like, listen, I was the perfect age for Zac Efron.
It's true.
High School Musical.
It's so true. Yeah.
And this is, like, I think like, cause, like, this is the thing saying, like, I can actually act, guys. Like, I'm not just, like, because, like, he tried to do, like, drama stuff, and, like, the movies just weren't that good, but he was really good.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of, so, like, this is, like, him showing it. But I think he did a good job, because, like, he was charming. But, like, I think something that's, like, really hard for actors to do is, like, for, like, a lot of scenes, there was, like, this, like, dead look in his eyes.
Right.
And it's kind of set up as, like, I don't know if it's, like, kind of a mystery of, like, did he do it, or didn't he, even though it's Ted Bundy.
So, yeah, right.
So he did it, but it didn't actually feel much of, like, a mystery, because, like, you're kind of following it through, like, like, because, like, Lily Collins plays, like, his girlfriend who, like, was a real person, because I think it's, like, based off her book. And, like, you're kind of seeing it through her eyes of, like, you don't want to believe that this person's doing it, but there's a lot of evidence pointing out to it. So there's that. And, like, this movie was, I guess I expected this movie to be a lot, this is going to sound weird considering what I just said, but I thought this movie was going to be a lot less, or a lot more tasteless than it was.
Okay. Interesting.
Like, have you heard anything, like, about it? Besides, I mean, like, recently?
No.
Okay, so there's, like, no gore. You don't actually, like, there's, like, a little bit of, like, there's, like, a little bit at the end.
Right.
But that, and it's not even, it's just, like, a picture and, like, a little bit of, like, he hit somebody on the head. Because, you know, spoiler, Teva needed that. But you don't actually see, like, you don't actually see any killing. Which, like, I think some people were complaining, saying, like, what? Like, we want to see all these murders. And I'm like, yeah, I would agree, but this is a real story. So, like, you maybe don't want to see that in, like, especially, like, the families of these victims. Like, in a fictional horror movie, that's fine.
Right.
But, like, do you really want to see... But, like, do you think any of these, like, families actually... want to see that?
Yeah, that'd be very tough. Mm-hmm.
So they didn't actually show anything, which is interesting. And then some people were kind of saying, like, because there's, like, so much footage of, like, Ted Bundy, because it's actually his trial was, like, the first televised, like, TV trial. And the last, like... I'm going to say, like, 45 minutes is just the trial, which was, like, so cringe-inducing, like, in a good way. Because he is just, like, and, like, that was actually, like, because, like, I knew all this stuff because, like, I've listened to podcasts about Ted Bundy, but, like, Zac Efron's just, like, so charming.
Right.
And I'm just like, but you did these crimes. I know you did them. And there's actually a point with, like, the judge, because, like, Ted Bundy represented himself. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Well, he was, like, a lawsuit, and there was, like, even, like... Because he ended up, like, marrying this girl at the trial. Because, like, basically they made her... So the story is that, like, they made her a witness.
Right.
And so he was, like, interrogating her and, like, saying this stuff. And then he asked her, will you marry me? And she said yes. I think were they in Florida? They might have been in Florida for the trial. But the rule is that, like, if somebody asks, will you marry me? And, like, the lawyer asks that. And you're, like, in, like, a state of law with, like, a judge. And, like, the woman says yes.
Right.
You're married. So she said, then I do by marry you. And then they were married.
Whoa. That's wild.
No, like, then they have a kid.
What'd it be like to just, like, your dad is, like, a serial killer? That's fucked up. That's so fucked up.
And there was, like, a bit with, like, the judge who, like, basically said, like, you're a fine lawyer, son. Like, I would love to see him in a different environment. I'm like, stop being nice to this guy.
Right. Yeah,
everybody seems so nice to him. And I'm just like, but he murdered so many people. So, like, it was, so I thought it was cringe-inducing in a good way. But Zac Efron just, like, constantly, like, kind of like a dead look, except when he's trying to be charming.
Right.
And then, like, Lily Collins played, like, his girlfriend. And they kind of, like, break up at one because, like, she's kind of starting to realize, like, oh, maybe he's not an actor, maybe... Because, like, there's, like, stuff, like... Because some people said, like, it made me seem like maybe he didn't do it until, like, the end when, like, it's, like, officially revealed, like, he did it.
Right.
But I didn't kind of see it that way. I kind of saw it as, like this, like, you're seeing it through her eyes. You don't want to believe somebody you care about who's always been nice to you is this horrible monster person.
Right, yeah.
But, like, your friends are kind of pointing out that, like, hey, this is happening. And there's a lot of evidence. And, like, I think there was this thing with actually, like, she actually, because there was, like, a drawing of him or sketch of him, and she thought she kind of recognized, she actually called the police and said, I don't know, I want to clear this person's name, this is his name. But she was getting suspicious, and they were like, oh, and that's how they got his name. I don't know if that's 100% true, because somebody also worked at a suicide hotline at one point, and, like, that person also, like, wrote a book about their experience.
Oh, wow. Huh.
It's a weird...
What a weird story. What a weird tale.
And, like, I guess I thought this movie was going to be more, like, I thought it was going to be, like, naked women and, like, gory stuff. And, like, there wasn't, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
I think that's smart. Like, literally, I think, like, the only kind of naked... You do see some Zac Efron, but not much. And then there's, like, this one shot, because I think, like, the one way they caught him was he, like, bit this woman's butt. And that's how they kind of, like, matched it up with, like, teeth marks. So there's that. So, but then there's not really much else. And then there's, like, a little bit at the end. But, and, like, I think there's another complaint because, like, they actually, like, played out, like, footage of him, which, like, I don't think Zac Efron, like, that much like Ted Bundy, but there's one point when he had a beard, and that was eerie. But they were, like, remaking, like, interviews that Ted Bundy gave. And somebody was like... You're lucky, but, like, they play the interview. It's like, you shouldn't have done that because, like, in those interviews, it's completely obvious that he's a creep. And I'm like, is it obvious, or is it obvious because we know everything?
Interesting.
Because, like, back then, would you think that he was a creep if you didn't know? Because the thing, like, could a serial killer, like, get away with, like, getting a woman if we knew everything about him or her? I know, but, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah. That's how I kind of feel. But also the editing wasn't that good.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like Bohemian Rhapsody editing.
Oh, like really fast and, like, weird.
It's not, like, fast, just, like, I think, like, once you got to the trial, it was a better movie.
Okay.
But before that, it's kind of just, it feels like there's a lot of jumping around.
Reaction shot. Because that's what Bohemian Rhapsody is.
I think more of just kind of, like, you're jumping from, like, several different scenes, and, like, it feels like it's not fitting together 100%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're interested in the story and you want to see Zac Efron in, like, that kind of role,
go for it.
Go for it. It's not great, but it's not as tasteless as I thought it was gonna be.
Nice.
So, but like there was like this kind of like built up a true crime, and like we kind of make the movie about like the villain. When somebody's like, "Are we glorifying the villain?" And I'm like, I don't know what to say to that. Because like I think these people should be seen as like the monsters that they are.
Right.
So it's debatable.
Yeah, it's like tough to like portray a real thing, but like, you know, portray it in an honest, but, you know,
I think it's interesting, like portraying like a serial killer through the eyes of somebody who knew them and didn't want to believe that this person is capable.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting framing.
Yeah. And like I did think also Lily Collins did a really good job, because like you can see like this like look in her eyes where she's like, he's like keeps calling her and she's like done with him. And she, like this like all of like the like everything just like draining from her face and like that kind of thing. So that was, I thought you did a good job too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like 5.5 out of 10.
All right.